Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be tier ranking all of the books that I read in 2024. I read 72 books this year, so I'm going to be tier ranking all 72 books. Also, if my voice sounds a little weird, I kind of got a cold from, if you watched my last video, I went to North Carolina and I have a bit of a cold now, so we're just going to try to power through this. I have a water right here. And then I have a half drink coffee because I already filmed this video, but my laptop stopped recording the screen. So we have to film this again. We shall see how much talking my voice can take. But let's get started. So I just had to clear up some storage on my laptop, but we are good to go. So these are all of the books that I've read in 2024. I am in the middle of reading 2 books right now, of Gilded Cage and then Iron Gold. But we're just not going to include those because I don't know if I'll finish them before the new year. It is December 29th, but yeah. So these are all of the books that I've read. And then these are the tiers. So we have God tier, we have top reads of 2024, we have loved, just not a fave, not completely obsessed but 100% recommend, not a fave, and then 2024 would have been better without. So I did take some inspiration from Sarah Caroli's tier ranking from last year, from 2023, and ever since I watched that video I've been wanting to make that video, so I'm so excited to do that this year finally. But I did in fact put all of them in order. I think they're all completely in order. If not, don't kill me, okay? I'm not too sure. But to explain the different tiers, God tier is going to be like my 6-star reads. These are my absolute favorite reads ever and will be my favorite reads till the end of time, okay? A little bit dramatic, but these are the top of the top. And then we have top reads of 2024. So these are reads that are like 4.75, possibly even 5 stars that I absolutely loved, but just aren't at the God tier level. Like I didn't connect to them in the same way, but they're still incredible. And then we have love, just not a favorite, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Like 4-star reads, really good, just not super memorable in that aspect. And then we have not completely obsessed, but 100% recommend, self-explanatory, not a favorite. So these are going to be like 3-ish stars-ish, but this is just basically, it was fine. It's like a not the best, but also not the complete worst, you know? And then we have 2024 would have been better without. I don't think I have too many that will go in this category, but it's also self-explanatory. So starting off with Kingdom of the Wicked. This is gonna go in not a favorite. This is the first book that I read this year. I listened to it on audiobook, and rookie mistake, it was my first audiobook I think I ever listened to, and I think that the audiobook was kind of bad. The girl who narrated it kind of gave them like a Dracula accent, and I kind of hated it. So this is going in not a fave. Honestly, debated in the 2024 would have been better without, but that would be a little bit dramatic. I might continue the series because I know a lot of people do love this series. And then we have my reread of ACOTAR and Akamoth. So ACOTAR is going to go in top reads of 2024 because, again, these are a reread. ACOTAR is such a good starting of the series. It is an amazing book. I do love this book. It's obviously not my favorite in the series, but I still really, really love it, and I definitely appreciate it. And then we have A Court of Mist and Fury. This one is going in God tier, okay? I was so excited to reread this book, and I love it so much. I finally got my sister to read it. She absolutely loved it. This is going in God tier. It's one of my favorite books I've ever read. And then we have Nightbane. This is the second book in the Lightlark series. Was supposed to be trilogy, question mark. But this is just gonna go in, not completely obsessed, but 100% recommend. Because it was fine. I really liked the first book. This one just kind of fell flat. It just felt like we were tackling the same things over and over and over again. And Grimm is right in front of you, babe. What is this love triangle? I hate love triangles so much. And I heard that the third book is literally just a continuation of it, and so I haven't read it. Then we have Powerless by Elsie Silver. This one is I don't think you can see it, but it's the 3rd book in the Chestnut Springs, and this is gonna go in loved, just not a fave. Okay, I really liked this book. I know it's a lot of people's favorite in the series. I loved it. It's just not my favorite out of the entire Chestnut Springs, but still absolutely adored it. Then we have Once Upon a Broken Heart. This one is going to go in loved, just not a favorite. So this is the first book of the trilogy, and I really did like it. It was a sweet fairy tale introduction to this series, and it was just a lot of fun. I did really, really like it. And then we have Wildfire. So this is the second book in the Maple Hills series. It's a standalone series. It's the one that has Icebreaker in it. And we're gonna put it in not a fave, okay? I really liked these characters. I just think that the story fell kind of flat for me. I was really excited for this one because I did really like Icebreaker. Again, it just was kind of meh to me. Just kind of meh. And then we have House of Flame and Shadow, okay? This book was a disappointment, okay? But this was the first SJM release that I had ever experienced because I read all of her books last year in 2023, and so I was very excited for this book to come out, and this was my first ever, like I said, release. That being said, it was a disappointing book, but simply because of the feelings around it, and I did rate it a 5-star at the time. Don't know if that holds true, but I did really like the book when I read it. It's going in the top reads of 2024. It was a lot of fun. I really liked it. Again, I think it was just the hype around it. Like, the sense of community that we all had was great. And then we have Ballad of Never After. This is going to go on top reads of 2024 as well. This is the second book of the Curse for True Love or Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. But that series is the second book. It was so good. I love Jack so much. When I tell you I love that man, I love that man. I love Jack so much. Curse for True Love. This is the last book in the trilogy. Also top reads of 2024. This was a very disappointing book for a lot of people. I know that. I just ate it up. I don't know what it was. I, again, didn't read this as they were coming out. So maybe if I was like waiting for the book to come out and waiting for the book to release, it would have been disappointing to me. But since I read them all at once, I really liked it. It was a great end to the series. And then we have Caraval. So I, in fact, read the Caraval series after reading Curse for True Love. And if you don't know, Caraval takes place before the events of Once Upon a Broken Heart. So basically, the entire Caraval series gets spoiled if you read it after the Curse for True Love. I personally didn't really care. I don't know if it would have made a difference. I don't know if it would have made a difference on my opinion of Caraval. But this one is gonna go in not completely obsessed, but I recommend, I guess. It was good. I understand why people like it. I just wasn't obsessed with it. I found it fun, but I also found it boring, and I really did not like our characters. Like, each of the characters I found insufferable. Each and every one of them, okay? And then we have Magnolia Parks. So, Magnolia Parks, the first book, if you know, you know, it was awful. Now, the book itself wasn't awful, but my god, the characters were so insufferable. And the story was just, I don't know, it took me a second to get into it. Once you get into the Magnolia Parks universe, you're in it, okay? The first book I really hated, though. I really did not like. We're gonna put it in not a fave, because I don't even know, because after reading that one, I don't even think I recommend it to most people. Just because although I love this series, it is near and dear to my heart, I absolutely love it, I don't think it's for everybody. It is really not for everybody. So you'll see the evolution of me diving into the Magnolia Parks universe. So don't get mad at this tier ranking, okay? Because the next ones get better for me, okay? And then we have Legendary. Legendary, I'm pretty sure I didn't like. I don't think I liked Legendary. We're gonna put it in not a fave. I don't think I liked it. I don't really remember too much about it, but I don't think I liked it. Again, same thing that I said. It just wasn't very memorable to me, was the Caraval series. So we'll just leave it at that. We have Reckless by Elsie Silver. This is gonna go in top reads of 2024. Theo is one of my favorite romance male main characters. I love him so much, and I love the evolution of Winter. Winter is giving very much Nesta vibes because Winter is kind of a bitch at the beginning of the series, and then you get a book on her and you kind of just have a different perspective on her, which is exactly how I felt about Nesta when we got A Court of Silver Flames. So I did really, really love this book. It is my, I'd say Heartless is my favorite. This is second favorite. And then we have Finale. Finale, I think I liked more than Legendary, so we'll put this guy at not completely obsessed, but I definitely recommend, because, again, it was fine. I think I just read it at the wrong time. I was kind of speeding through them, so that's a me problem. Then we have Daisy Hates. This is the first Daisy Hates book. We're gonna put in Love, just not a fave. Do you see the step? Do you see the little step that we just took? Daisy Hates, once I got introduced to the characters in this book, my perspective on the Magnolia Parks world completely changed. There was more depth to the characters, because in the first book, it's kind of just like surface level. It's just very toxic. There's cheating. There's, just a lot of toxicity. It's a bunch of rich people, okay? But then we get to Daisy Hates. Same thing, same characters. If you don't know, it's about, there's the Daisy Hates books and there's Magnolia Parks books, and they're taken place at the same time. They just follow different point of views. So once you got to the Daisy Hates books, you finally saw some depths with different characters, and I personally really, really connected to Daisy, Christian, and Julian. And Julian is a gang lord. I love Julian so much. Julian and Daisy are like my favorite characters I've ever read about, okay? I love them so much. So that one is love, just not a fave, because the books just get better from there, let me tell you. Then we have One Dark Window. This one's also gonna go in love, just not a fave, okay? This is the first book in the Shepherd King's duology. I loved this duology, okay? But the second book I definitely liked more, and I did really like this book. I thought it was an amazing introduction into the duology, but I absolutely adore duologies, and I personally love the second book more than the first one every single time. I'm a little slut for duologies, let me tell you. I really am. I love duologies. So that one's going in love, just not a fave. And then we have A Court of Wings and Ruin. God tier. Like, immediately God tier. Like, there is no second thought about that. When I read it the first time, ACOWAR was my favorite book of the entire series. After rereading the books, I really, really appreciate Akamoff even more than ACOWAR, but I do love the more cameos and snippets that we get of Asriel specifically, but of also the rest of the Inner Circle. I love ACOTAR so much. Okay, now we're on Two Twisted Crowns. This is the second book of the Shepherd King duology, top reads of 2024. This was a 5-star read, and like I said, I think I like the second book of duologies more than the first. And this book just did it for me. It was so much fun. It kind of was like a gothic fantasy, and I really liked that the cards, there was a card element to it that was the magic in the world, and I just found it so much fun. I recommend this book to most people. I think most people would really like it. And then we have Daughter of No Worlds. Top reads of 2024, hello! The War of Lost Hearts trilogy is one of my favorite series I will ever read, I think. Tisana and Max are two of my favorite characters, but my favorite couple as well. Max, the man that you are, and Tisana reminds me very heavily of Aelin from Throne of Glass, so I think that's why I really liked her. But yeah, just such a great trilogy. We'll move on to we'll get on to the rest of them in a second, but so good. And then we have Magnolia Parks A Long Way Home. This one, love, just not a fave, I think. We're gonna put it in love, just not a fave. Again, following Magnolia and BJ, completely insufferable characters. I could not stand them in this book, even more than the first book. Oh my god. But it was top entertainment. It was so entertaining. And you, again, start getting into the depths of the characters, and I don't know, it's more of a character study than it is a romance, so it was a little bit of a change for me. I kind of had to remember the type of book that I was reading, you know? Like, it's not a romance, it's a character study, so these people are going to be heavily flawed, but I do come to love each and every one of these characters, so yeah, definitely a love, is just not a favorite. And then we have Dance of Thieves. So Dance of Thieves, also love, just not a favorite. Part of a duology. What did I say about duologies? Second book, always better. Top reads of 2024 is Vow of Thieves. This duology really took me by surprise, because Dance of Thieves was sitting on my shelf for a very long time, and then I saw that Lauren Roberts has said that Dance of Thieves is one of her favorite books ever, and so I decided to pick it up, and I'm glad that I did. It was, I don't know, it was just a great fantasy. I honestly couldn't even tell you that much about it, but I really liked it. So, and then we have Powerful by Lauren Roberts. This is going to be love, just not a favorite. Okay. I did in fact rate this 5 stars when I read it, because I was so emotional about it. Definitely think it's more of like a 4.5, but it was the perfect novella. I love novellas, okay? I love, love, love novellas. I think that they are short and sweet, they get to the point, and they're just incredible. And I really liked diving back into the Powerless timeline, I guess, because it takes place during the first book. And I love I love the MMC that we were introduced to. I love Adina so much, and I don't know, it was just a perfect little novella. And then we have Funny Story. Okay. And then we have Funny Story by Emily Henry. God tier. This book was so good, okay? It was definitely more rom-com-y than the rest of her books, but I just really loved it. I really connected to these characters, and I like that they were more of a friends to lovers than anything. And then Miles is one of my favorite romance male interests that I've read about. He's a acts of service king, and we love him, and I don't know, I just love him. I was literally picturing Dylan O'Brien the entire time that I was reading this book, so I don't know if that helped, but yeah, Funny Story. I think right now it's my favorite book from her, but that could just be because it's the most recent one that I've read. But yeah, Funny Story is so good. And then we have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. God tier. Hello. So this is my favorite romance book that I have ever read. Yeah, I said it. I said it. Sorry. It was just... I love Abby Jimenez's books because she does... It is a romance, but she writes deeper meanings inside of her books. Like, it covers more than just the romance. There's always an underlying, deeper rooted thing in there that our characters struggle with, and she just does it so well. And I don't know, it's such a good book. It's such a good book. And again, Acts of Service King, I love these characters so much, and I read it at the beach and I read it in one day, so I love it so much. And then we have my reread of Assassin's Blade. This one is gonna go in love, just not a favorite, because when I first read it, so again, this is a reread. When I first read Assassin's Blade, when I was reading Throne of Glass, I really did not like the book. I read it 4th in the series. Okay. Do not recommend that. Do not read it after Heir of Fire. Please, for the love of everything. I hated it when I read it after Heir of Fire because I needed to get back into the story. I hated going back in time when the plot was finally going somewhere. So that's just me. I don't recommend reading it after Heir of Fire. Again, just because going back in time after the plot finally starts to thicken is the stupidest thing I've ever done, truthfully. So I probably would have put it at not completely obsessed but recommend, or even not a fave, because I wanted to DNF it when I first read it. How stupid of me, okay? After my reread, okay? I fully love this book. I appreciate how full circle it comes towards the end of the series and how every single novella comes back into play after, you know, everything happens. So I love this book so much. I hold it very near and dear to my heart. It is definitely not a top read, again, because although I do love it and I do appreciate it, I still hold the other books higher than this, but it is definitely necessary, 1, to read, and 2, do not read it 3rd. Or do not read it 4th. Either read it 1st or 3rd. Okay, that is it. That is it. Please don't read it 4th. Please. I'm telling you. Okay, and then we have Children of Fallen Gods. This one is gonna go in love, just not a fave. This one is the 2nd book in a trilogy. I feel like the 2nd book in trilogies always fall a little flat. Not like super flat, but it's just boring per se. It's just a lot of world building and plot building and just a lot of politics and stuff going on, and a lot of changes of scenery, and there's just a lot going on. It is a fully necessary book, and it is by no means a filler book, because I feel like sometimes in trilogies the 2nd book is a filler book. This is not a filler book. There's so much happening, but there is so much happening. So that's the reason why it's going just a little bit lower than the 1st book. Still love it. Yep. We have Mother of Death and Dawn. That is a god tier book, let me tell you. Dare I say more? Okay, we're just gonna move on because I literally can't talk about it anymore or else I will get emotional. So then we have Throne of Glass. Again, reread. This is gonna go in top reads of 2024. Don't care that it's a reread, okay? I had so much fun reading this, and it is just so sweet but also sad seeing these characters and almost how, like, there's a bunch of stuff going on in these books, like darker stuff going on. Not like a bunch of darker stuff, but there is things happening to these characters that are not good. But just how relatively innocent they all are in the first 2 books is so cute but also depressing. So I very much appreciate the first 2 books, and Crown of Midnight also going in top reads of 2024 because, again, with the innocence of it, and you finally just seeing where the story, just seeing where the story starts is after reading the full thing and after seeing like what they end up having to go through. And then next we have Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, okay? Once again, God tier, okay? This is a 6-star read. I have never annotated a book as much as I've annotated this book. The way that Jessa Hastings writes so beautifully, where every single sentence is like poetry, it's insane. This book was just so good. The ending of it, I am like clawing at the bars of my enclosure for the next book, okay? Again, I never would have thought after reading the first book that any of these books would ever be at this level. So good. And then we have Heartless Hunter, okay? I'm gonna put it at not completely obsessed, but 100% recommend, because it was good. It's a good introductory fantasy, in my opinion. It's about a witch and a witch hunter. It was a fun book, and I'm excited for the next book, but it wasn't anything that really stuck out, you know? But I do recommend it. It was really good. We have What Lies Beyond the Veil. Okay, this book was awful. It was on Kindle Unlimited. I read it because I saw a TikTok about it, and I was like, okay, yeah, this will be fun. Oh my god, no. I don't know why I hated it so much, but I truly did not like it. I didn't like the writing. It felt messy. It just felt just so bleh. I did not like it. Genuinely wish I didn't read it. Should have DNF'd it, but I didn't. So that's my fault. Then we have Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I think I'm gonna put it in love, just not a favorite. I don't think it was a top reads. Yeah, I don't think it was a top reads for me. It honestly wasn't really that memorable because, like I said, in a trilogy, the second book, it's always... Like in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy, for example, that was a lot of politics and character build-up and just a bunch of build-up for what was going to happen in the third book. This felt like there was no build-up whatsoever, which is what I was expecting in the second book. I was going into the second book thinking, okay, we're gonna need to put our thinking cap on. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. I love the banter, I love our characters, I love the plot of the book, I love the politics of the book. Like, I loved everything about this book. It just felt like a filler book for me. Again, I enjoyed reading it, but after sitting on it for a little bit, it was just kind of meh. I am so excited for the second book though. I did really like this book nonetheless. I rated it 5 stars when I first read it. Is it more of a 4.5? Yes. But I still love this book. I'm not hating on the book whatsoever. I do think that it was just a little bit of a filler book, just a little bit. But I still enjoyed every second of it. The banter that Peyton and Kai have. Also, Kai is one of my favorite characters ever, so. And then we have From Blood and Ash. This is gonna go in top reads of 2024. I loved this book so much. I did not expect to love this book. I had heard about it just a little bit. I'm fairly new to the booktube, book talk, book community. I just started reading like last year. Last year I think I read, I don't know how many books I read last year actually. I think my goal was 24 books and I think I read 30 something. I don't remember actually. I don't know how many books I read last year, but this year I read 72. So I'm fairly new to the book community, okay? With that being said, From Blood and Ash, I had briefly heard about. I knew that it was popular like a while ago, but I went into it pretty much completely blind and oh my god did I love it, okay? The first book is entirely different from the rest of the series, but I loved this book so much. I genuinely want to reread the first book, if I'm being completely honest. It was just so much fun. It was a fun time. I love our characters. I love our love interests. Oh my god. Poppy and Castile eat me up every single time. And Kieran, that brings me to the second book. God tier. Yep. Hate to say it, okay? It is God tier. It is a 6-star book for me. I don't know why. I don't know if I just read it at the right time, but I loved this book so much. It was absolute perfection to me. Perfection. I loved it. I loved the political build-up. I keep saying that. I use the same phrases for everything, but I love the political build-up. I love the introduction into the magic and the history and just all this stuff. And it was just so good. It was so good. I also haven't read the prequel series because I didn't even know that that was a thing until I was on book 4. And so I need to read it. I know that there's a specific reading order where like after you read the first one, you read the other. There's a reading order for them, and I didn't know about them until after I read it, so that is an issue on my part, but it's okay. I do want to read those, but I haven't read them yet. And then we have Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This is going to go in top reads of 2024. Oh my god, my voice is getting really tired, guys. I should have made tea. But top reads of 2024. Okay. Wild Love is the first book in the Rose Hill series right here, and it is in the same world as Chestnut Springs, and the love interest of Wild Love is the brother of Willa in Heartless, and Heartless is my favorite book of the Chestnut Springs series. So best believe I did love it. I love the little snippets of some of the characters, and I don't know, it was a super fun book. I loved it. Elsie Silver just does romances so good, and there's nothing like the ranch cowboy vibe, okay? We have When the Moon Hatched, okay? We're gonna put this in not a fave, okay? I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. Let me just preface that. But I don't think, just out of these tiers, I don't think I'd recommend it to everybody, or like in general. And then I didn't absolutely love it, so the only choice is not a fave, sorry. But it was just so confusing, and for what, okay? I read this book, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, okay, the second book of Blood and Ash. There was so much going on, and I wasn't confused. There wasn't really that much going on, if I'm being completely honest, and I was so confused the entire time. It just felt like almost it was written to purposefully confuse the readers. I also just don't like how the book was like laid out, like how the timeline was laid out, and I am excited for the next book to come out because I do like the way that the plot is going, and towards the last like 200 pages of the book, I did grasp what was happening. But for this thick of a book, she's thick. And there's a whole glossary, okay? Oop, apologies. There is a whole glossary in this book, okay? We're bringing it out. The glossary is this thick, okay? A whole glossary. Now, the illustrations are beautiful, but there's a whole glossary in this book, and for why? I was just so confused the entire time, and I thought dragons were going to be a bigger part of it, and I felt like they were just talked about, and that was it. But I am excited for the next book, because the plot did get way more interesting, but for the majority of the book, I was just very meh about it. Okay, 7-Year Slip. We have top reads of 2024, so I read this in one sitting. I love our main characters so much. Love them so much. It was such a cozy little read. It's a short little book. Where is she? Oh, you can't see her. She's over there, but she's the short little book. She's the tiny little book. And I don't know, I just had a fun time reading it. I was very attached to the characters, shockingly enough, within like, it's like a 300 and something page book, and I was fully attached to the characters, which is very rare for me, so loved it. And then this summer will be different. We're gonna do not completely obsessed, but 100% recommend, because it wasn't super memorable. Like summer read, I guess, like a fun little beach read. It's a like 300 and something page book. It's very short. Characters aren't super memorable to me, but I did really like this book, and I definitely recommend it. And then we have Crown of Gilded Bones, okay? Do you see where From Blood and Ash and Kingdom of Flesh and Fire sit? Yep, this one is gonna go not completely obsessed, but 100% recommend. Because, okay, this one felt like a filler book, 100%, okay? This one I was confused most of the time, and I was just like, what the fuck is happening? And there was like 1,000 things happening at once. I don't know, I was just very bored with this book, and it took me forever to read it. But then we have War of Two Queens. This one's gonna go Love Just Not a... No, we're gonna do in top reads of 2024, because again, there's just a lot of build up throughout all of these books, but this book, the politics, the war, and the like magic and history and everything that was introduced into everything, so good. The ending of this book was absolutely impeccable. I loved this book so much. I want to reread this series, actually. I love this series. And then we have Soul of Ash and Blood. This is the, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 5th book. Whoa. And the Blood and Ash, we're gonna put this, either not a fave or, see, I did like this book, that's the thing. So before I place it somewhere, because I don't know where I'm placing it, this book is basically a retelling of the first book in Castile's point of view, which I was down for, if I'm being completely honest, until I realized it was about 600 pages of it. The first book wasn't even that long, but it was about 600 pages of that, where we didn't even get that much of the perspective of present time, to where I was like, why? Like, this again felt like a filler book too. Like, it felt like it should have been a novella almost, especially since the next book is Miss Willa's book. I don't even fucking know, but it more so just annoyed, yeah, we're putting it there. It more so just annoyed me more than anything that it was just like, we have two straight filler books. We have this book and then we have the Visions of something. I forgot what it is. So not completely obsessed, but 100% recommend. If the book after it was a continuation of the plot, then maybe it would be ranked a little bit higher, but I was just annoyed because I'm like, what was the point of this if we don't even have the next book? So, it is announced. I forgot when it's coming out, but anyways. Then we have Magnolia Park's Into the Dark, and this is going to go in top reads of 2024. I never would have thought that a Magnolia and BJ book would be anywhere above a 3.5, sorry, but I finally understood BJ's character in, for one, Magnolia. Magnolia annoyed the living shit out of me for the first 3 books, okay? First 3 books. And then once I got Daisy's point of view from The Great Undoing, oh my god, dear book, I love her. But once I got Daisy's point of view of Magnolia from The Great Undoing, I really started to like Magnolia from seeing it from someone else's perspective. Being inside of her head is the most insufferable thing ever, but seeing her from someone else's point of view who isn't freaking BJ, very much appreciated. And seeing her in Julian's point of view too. Julian. But Into the Dark was a great bow on Magnolia and BJ's story, and I just loved it. It was so good. It was so good. And then we have Wild Eyes. Again, top reads of 2024. Elsie Silver just does it every single time, okay? She does it every single time. I haven't even finished Chestnut Springs, okay? We're not going to talk about that. I haven't read Hopeless because I'm scared. It's about Beau, and I heard a bunch of people don't like it, so we're just going to ignore that. But yeah, Wild Eyes top reads. I liked it more than Wild Love. I love when there's kids in play. Sometimes, no, I haven't read a book where the kids ruin it, if I'm being completely honest. The kids make the book, let me tell you, because he is a single dad. I love single dads. Okay, Ruthless Vows. Top reads of 2024. We've had a lot of good reads this year. So I read this recently in October, and I got it back in January when it was released, but I was scared to read it because of how many people shitted on it. Okay, everyone hated this book. There were so many things to say about it, and I was scared, to be completely honest, because I'm not gonna lie, Divine Rivals, I liked it when I read it, but when I sit back on it, I was like, I don't even know if I really like the characters. Like, I liked Roman, and Iris kind of annoyed me, and I didn't like them together. The book made me like Iris, and it made me really like them together, and I like the politics in it, and I don't know, I really liked this book, truthfully. And then we have Spark of the Everflame. This is gonna go in Love Just Not a Fave. Very good book. I did really like it. It was a good introduction into this series, and I really love this series. So it was a great introduction. It was a lot of fun. It was just a fun fantasy. And then we have The Naturals. Loved Just Not a Fave as well. I had a lot of fun while reading this. Honestly, should I put it in top reads? No, we're just gonna keep it here. I had a lot of fun when reading this. It's literally Criminal Minds, but with teenagers, and it was just a lot of fun. I had a great time. And then we have Bride by Ellie Hazelwood. We're gonna put in Love Just Not a Fave. I debated top reads because I just had such a great time when reading this, okay? It's a paranormal romance. It is about a vampire and a werewolf. Need I say more? Glow of the Everflame. Not completely obsessed, but definitely recommend. It's docked a little bit because although I'd rate it the same as Spark, I still think DM really annoyed me in this book, I will say, who's our main character. But I did really love our side characters. They're the ones who made this book, and Luther made this book, and just the castle and the palace aspect of it was really cool. And I liked the like, you got introduced to more of the magic of it and everything. So it was a fun book. Again, DM was just completely insufferable, this book. Still really liked it though. And then we have Red Rising. Okay. let me preface this, love this series now, okay? But where I'm gonna put this, we're gonna put it in not a fave, okay? Now hear me out. Hear me out. When I read this book, I hated it. I wanted to DNF it. I did not think I was going to continue the series because I was just so fucking confused. And I felt like so stupid when I was reading this book. Like, I just felt stupid. And so I didn't want to continue the series. Then I did continue the series, and I have a newfound love for another series, okay? I want to reread it because I want to reread the first book now that I finally have an understanding of the world and the characters and everything. And the politics specifically, but when I first read it, I hated it. Okay, Throne of the Fallen, top reads of 2024. Okay, Prince Envy. Yep, Prince Envy is one of my favorite characters. Is not characters, but like one of my favorite male interests that I've read this entire year. I love this book so much. I've put so many people on this book, so please read this book. It is so good. It was just such a good romantasy. And we have Daydream, and this one's gonna go, and not completely obsessed, but I definitely recommend. It was good, but still not better than Icebreaker to me. I really like Henry, and I liked the way that Hannah Grace wrote about ADHD and anxiety, and it was a really good book, and I really liked Hallie in this too. It was just kind of meh, you know? It was just meh. It didn't speak out to me. And then we have Better Than the Movies, okay? We're gonna put it in not a fave. I debated putting it in 2024, would have been better without it. Just because it was just so high school to me, okay? It was so high school, and I did not like it. I understand why a lot of people like it. It did give rom-com vibes. It felt so YA. It felt so YA. Again, I understand why it's some people's favorite books. I just didn't really like it. Again, we're gonna put a novel love story, and not completely obsessed, but 100% recommend. I thought it was fun, but I definitely liked 7 Year Slip a lot more than a novel love story, and my expectations for a novel love story were very high, even though I heard a lot of bad reviews about it. Or not bad, but like mixed reviews about it. But it was just kind of meh. I was expecting it to be like Stars Hollow. Was not. And then we have Heat of the Everflame. Yep. This is the third book in the Kindred Curse saga, the Spark of the Everflame series. It is 1,000 pages long, and I was very intimidated by it, and I literally read it in like 3 days. I loved this book so much. It is one of my favorite, obviously, it's in God tier. Hello. One of my favorite reads of this year. It was so, so good, and it is one of the only books where I actually liked our side characters and enjoyed, we didn't even follow our side characters, but enjoyed the inclusion of our side characters more than our main characters, besides Luther. I really love Luther. But yeah, such a good book. I loved it so much. And then we have Holiday Hideaway. This is an audiobook that I listened to. It's a little novella. 2024 would have been better without 1,000%. It's a little novella. It was like an hour long, I think, and my god, was it awful. He had a fiance the entire time. Couldn't even tell you what it's about. It was awful. So bad. And then we have Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. This is the second book in Red Rising. Okay, this is when I said hear me out. This is going in top reads of 2024, okay? Okay, I finally started understanding the characters and the plot of this series, and I fell in love with our characters. Still didn't fully understand what was happening, but I still loved our characters so much. And the ending of this book, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? Insane. And then we have Killer Instinct. This is gonna be, not completely obsessed, but recommend, because The Naturals I did like more than Killer Instinct. This is the second book in that series, but it was a fun read. It was a bingeable read. It was entertaining. It was great. I really, really did like it. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's going in love, just not a fave, because I just remembered what the ending was, and I loved the ending of it. I don't read a lot of thrillers. I don't read thrillers ever, actually. Let me correct that. And I don't know. I really liked it. And then Songbird and the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. This is going to go in love, just not a fave. Yeah, in love, just not a fave. Because this is the third book of the Crowns of Nyaxia series. And I do like... So, my rankings right now, not including the novellas, just the actual books, goes Serpent in the Wings of Night, Songbird and the Heart of Stone, and then Ashes of the Star-Cursed King. That's kind of what it goes. This follows a different couple from the first two books, and I really liked it. It was really good. The ending went so crazy, so crazy. Then we have The Cruel Prince. This shocks me. It's going in top reads of 2024. I loved this book so much. The fairy tale-esque of it, like the vibe of this book, just hit for me. Don't know why, but it really did hit for me. And I really, really, really loved this book. Like, really loved this book. It was so good. And then we have Butcher and Blackbird. This one, honestly, is going to go in not a fave, because I don't know if I recommend it to everybody. And I did find it entertaining at first, but then when the serial killer thing just kept going and the murders just kept going, I was like, okay, I'm a little squeamish. I'm like a baby when it comes to these things. It's about two serial killers who fall in love, and they have like a game where, now they murder bad people, okay? They murder other serial killers, and so they have like a game every year where they like hunt someone basically. So that's that. And then we have Wicked King. This one is gonna go in Love Just Not a Fave. This one was fun. Again, second book in trilogy, so it was just kind of a lot of things happening. And then we have Queen of Nothing. This is gonna go in top reads. So good. I loved this book so much. It was the perfect ending to the trilogy, and I loved it so much. I had such a fun time when reading this series. Like, I read these all within 3 days. So, and then we have Quicksilver. This one is also going to go in top reads of 2024. We had a lot of good reads this year, guys. A lot of good reads. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I did a reading vlog on Quicksilver, Metal Slinger, and Of Blood and Ether, and it was just a lot of fun. I didn't realize how much I loved reading fantasies that had fae in it until it's been a while since I've read one, and this one had fae in it, and I absolutely ate it. I loved our characters. I loved our side characters like a lot, and the plot was just a lot of fun. I loved it. Then we have Metal Slinger. This is gonna be Love Just Not a Fave, okay? I really enjoyed this book. It was just a really fast-paced book. There wasn't a lot of depth to it for me, and I didn't really feel super connected to the characters, but I am excited for the next book because the ending of this book went so crazy. Then we have Of Blood and Ether. This one's going to go on top reads of 2024, if I'm being completely honest. This one was such a fun read. Such a fun read. And it just was very atmospheric for me. And it takes place in like a school, like she's studying. And it's a romantasy. And it was a friends to lovers, not an enemies to lovers. And I really enjoyed the friends to lovers aspect of it. I don't think I've ever read a fantasy where it was friends to lovers, if I'm being completely honest. And then we have Cruel Winter with You. I think this is by Ali Hazelwood. And this one is going to be not completely obsessed, but 100% recommend. It's a little Christmas novella. It was a lot of fun. It was super cute. And like I said, I just love novellas so much. The Christmas Party. This is going to be not completely obsessed, 100% recommend. Again, it's a short little audiobook that I listened to, and I listened to it on Audible, and it was like a thriller that I listened to when I was packing, and so it did what it needed to do, but it was fine, and that's it. Like, it was okay. And then we gotta move down a little bit. We have Morning Star by Pierce Brown. This one, see, this is what I mean. You gotta, God tier. This book is God tier. This was such a good ending to the original Red Rising trilogy, and I cannot say enough good things about this book. It is so good. And then last but not least, we have Prison Healer. This one I just recently read. I think I'm going to put it in Love Just Not a Fave, because I don't think that I can put it in top reads of 2024 just yet, simply because I finished it a couple days ago and I haven't had time to sit on it. So it feels wrong putting it in top reads of 2024 right now, but I did thoroughly enjoy this book, shockingly enough. I did not think that I was going to like it that much, but yeah, it's really good. I did really like this book. I like the way that the story's going, so I'm excited to finish that series. Okay, so this is my tier, and I am obsessed with it. I stick with everything that I put. I am very glad that I had more books in the top 3 tiers than the bottom 3 tiers, because that means that I had a really good reading year, and this is the most books that I've ever read. Ever? Like, 72 books is a lot for me. But I will be doing a reset video very soon of me preparing for 2025, which is crazy. And I'm going to be setting my Goodreads goal. My Goodreads goal this year was 60, I think, and I read 72 books. So stay tuned to see what my Goodreads goal is next year. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and tier ranking all of my books I read this year with me, and let me know your opinions on these books. Keep them nice because I fully understand why some people do or do not like books that I do or do not like. So it is just my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.